Welcome here, everyone. Another great episode of the Contractor Business Builder podcast. We've got the honor of hosting Luan Nguyen. He is the founder of Deck Bros. How you doing today?
I'm blessed, man. Thank you for inviting me on your show.
Yeah, excited to chat with you. We're going to be, talking about lead generation and brand equity and how you grew your company, rapidly over the last, couple of years. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you started your company?
So I'm not from the construction industry, not originally. I did just about a little bit of everything, but did a little bit of operation, a little bit of marketing, a little bit of sales. I did a little bit of college. So how I started my company was, I was laid off furlough from the casino, which was my last job. Well, one thing led to another, and I'm building decks.
Cool. Very good. And it's an interesting way that you came into the contracting, construction business industry. And I think it serves a business owner well when they've had some of that background experience in operations or sales and marketing and different things. Because I think most contractors, they're kind of good at the on-site work and know the construction side of things, but not so much the business side of things. I feel like you've kind of come at it from a different angle there. So with Deck Bros, you guys have grown, quite a bit quickly. You can, talk about that over the last couple of years. You had essentially effective branding and marketing was a big part of it. Can you share with us some of the key strategies you use to grow your company quickly?
So, the first couple years is really just learning how the production process works, right? Like none of us know how to build decks, so we have to learn how to do that. Mm-hmm. And then once we learn how to do that, we scale by production. So it's just having, the first year, just one crew, one project manager / sales guy, because it really doesn't take that much to keep one crew busy. You can do probably a sale or two a week, and that will probably fill up your pipeline for a whole year. And throughout all this, in the beginning, I was spending about 10% of revenue on marketing. No brand awareness, nobody know who I am. So a lot of that money was running straight ad and then use the profit from that to invest into SEO, more of a long-term strategy, nurturing, things like that. But from the get-go, just running straight ads in terms of client acquisition. And then second year is more of, okay, now I really need to get out of the field and do sales only. And then so that's what we did. I got to scale myself out production, and then we hire more production people, hire lead handler, just more support role. So to me, when I think about scaling, is you have to scale from the back end. Basically, you have to have people that get the job done, otherwise you can't cash flow. So that's our strategy, is growing the production as well, because marketing and sales is worthless without production. Mm-hmm. So how we were able to scale that fast is we do multi-channel marketing. At first year, just Facebook mainly. Second year is Facebook and Google ad, and a little bit of Google My Business, a lot of ads still. Third year, it was SEO. Now the SEO got time to take it on a stronghold. And then it's our brand equity that start growing in the market. And this year, really, we already sold as much as we did last year.
Awesome.
So we're on a trajectory of scaling double again. And then at this stage, it's more about finding the right people.
Okay. So running effective ads was a big part of your strategy. What happens after, someone contacts you from an ad? What's your sales process like to be capitalizing on the leads and the ads, revenue that you're spending?
When the people call us, we have an intake script, and right now we have a lead handler, which used to be me back then. So what we do is, you back then it's like, hey, what you need, right? But now we have a process to get address, phone number, email, enter that into the CRM. There's some generic question about scope of work. Is that even what we do? And then if it's what we do, then cool. And we move the conversation where you live. if it's within our service area. And
Yep.
then we obviously send a sales rep out and try to close people if they're looking for what we do and if we can help them.
Okay. And so your salesperson will go out, meet them, probably like wherever they want the work done, generally guessing at their home or somewhere like that. Are you doing an estimate and giving them a price like on the spot for that? Or do you get like a deposit or retainer, or what's kind of the next step?
We are a one call close organization. So when I'm at the home, our goal is to walk out with a check, or they get put into the grinder, the follow-up process. We figure out the design and the price and try to get business done.
Okay.
So more of a one call close organization.
Yeah, I like that. Definitely, speed in business is always a plus. And when you can provide that kind of service where you're giving them a price and offering them, to do the project on the first meeting is pretty cool. So what mistakes do you see contractors making with lead gen? Maybe mistakes you've made in the past, or you see other contractors making with their lead gen and bringing leads into the business?
So, it depends on what stage of the business are you in. At first, when you're just starting out, you still, getting familiarized with the front office kind of stuff. At this stage, most of the time, people just don't have a tracking system for their lead. They don't have a CRM, or they don't have something to where you can tell what stages are these lead in. Well, if they missed a phone call, did I remember to call that person back or not? So like money just leaking everywhere, right? So that's the stage, you're not really damaged that much by missing a few leads here and there, because it doesn't take much to feed you at this point. So here I see a lot of people having a lot of problem to intake lead, keep lead in the database, having a dedicated CRM to contact lead. And second is at this stage, people suffer from speed because they are still doing the work. So their phone is not a priority, where it should be the other way around. And a lack of consistency in their follow-up process. They don't turn the lead, you know what I mean? They just, I'll get to the estimate when I get to the estimate. Sometimes it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you send the estimate out, and by then the leads get cold, and then you don't sell anything. So the cycle continues. But when you go up another level, maybe you have a sales guy, but you're turning that most of the lead because your sales guy can't sell. So you try to pre-qualify people over the phone by price, and then thus giving you no chance to re-educate customer on how much it's actually really going to cost to do their job. So people losing out on a lot of conversation that could be turned into deals is this stage. And most of the time, the sales guy at this stage, most of the time is still the owner, right? So at this point, it's more of a conversion problem. Okay, they don't have a dedicated sales process to convert these leads. You hear a lot about, well, they don't want to pay my price. They don't want to do this. They want to do that. I'm just too expensive on them. They're not my client. You hear it all. And our philosophy is, if you do decks and they need decks, they're your client. They're buying. If you do floor and they need flooring, they're buying. Maybe not from you, but they're buying. If they're in the market, if there's a need there, they're buying. Somebody is servicing those people, right? So we have to get this mentality that choking down most of the lead out of the top of the funnel when you don't even have a chance to visit with them yet. And I get it, the most objection I get when I coach contractors at this stage is, well, I just don't have enough time. So I'm just not going to go see those people. So basically you're putting a Band-Aid, you got a little win, you pre-qualify out these people, but you're not solving the real problem. You can't sell. So actually what should happen is they should go to a sale process, learn how to sell at the correct margin, and convert at a high rate, so then they can hire people to then in turn do the production for them, right?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And I love what you said there about there's a lot that goes into the sales process. And, after you spent this money and time, getting a lead and pre-qualifying and going through all that. So, you need to do your self-service and take the time to actually, bring that client to a close or to some sort of, ultimate decision, and be able to continue to follow up with them and have a process for that. You mentioned, your CRM that you use to facilitate that whole process, make sure you're not leaking money, as you said. Is there other systems or your CRM? What's been the most beneficial for you as far as systems? Like obviously, you've got your field crew, your production guys, you got your sales, and there's a lot of communication and different things going on. What systems have you found to be most effective to growing your business?
Is the system you use is that's I found to be most effective is the system that your team use. I have built the CRM, I have built out a custom CRM, but most of it is unused. We don't use because we don't feel have the need to use it. So the system that we found the most valuable for us is the system that we use, like lead follow up. How many touches do they get before they get a phone call from us? And the lead hasn't set within a couple of weeks, within a couple of days, what measure are we taking to make sure that lead is still fresh? And then our goal is to try to set that lead. And then on the back end, we have a follow-up process if they don't buy. And then scheduling process with calendar and reminder for the people that is very beneficial. From that, I am able to maximize the squeeze out of my marketing effort. Even if the lead handler forget to call in somebody or we forget to follow up to somebody, the system will pick it up and make sure to remind the client that, hey, we're still here, right? And then the lead handler can pick up the slack from there.
Yeah, makes sense. So what's some of the best advice you've ever received in your business, and how have you applied it? You're from a mentor or a business partner, maybe a sales advice from somebody?
The best advice on the grand scale of thing, what I try to convey to people is there are 3 levels of influence, right? There's sales, which is one-to-one conversation, and there's marketing, which is one-to-many conversation, and there's products or branding or whatever it is that people call it nowadays. Basically, to me, it brands / products, and especially in the construction industry, that bring many to one. So sales is short term, marketing is there still needs to be a strategy, but a little bit more short term, but brand is long term, right?
Yep.
So we gotta be able to hit sales, hit marketing, and hit branding all at the same time when we're trying to build a business. Because if you're a sales organization, you're always gonna have to pay for somebody to market and for you, and you don't have a brand. But you can still scale that model. Just think about Renewal by Anderson. Think about all these Pella windows, all this big company. They're truly a sales organization. Think of a car dealership. They're a sales organization, right? And there's a marketing organization, which is they just gonna pump ad all the time, right? Without any brand awareness, whatever. You see that all the time. Maybe some roofer marketing organization, but very rarely do you see true brand in the market for construction, right? So that's what I'm trying to get to, is when we have a product so good, we have an experience so great that people bring referrals and repeats. So that's how I judge the business: referral and repeat. And how much are you spending on a total marketing cost to keep your brand relevant? So that's probably the best advice I heard, is product bigger than marketing, and then marketing is bigger than sales. So there's 3 levels of influence.
Yeah, love the point and the distinction, and great advice. And a lot of people, I believe, they kind of group everything together. Marketing, sales, branding, kind of think it's all sort of the same, but they're all very unique and should be approached in specific ways and things like that to get set up. As far as, like you mentioned, brand equity and getting to a brand and how important that is for a company, but a lot don't really focus or don't know how to do it properly. What would be your thoughts or advice on building a brand and using that as a strength for a business?
So for a lot of guys, I would start with a personal brand. Hey, I'm Luan, I do decks, right? And for a lot of guys, that works. And let's start from the personal brand. And what is a brand really? Let's define that brand. Brand is pretty much reputation, time awareness. So do you have a good reputation or a bad reputation? Everybody has a brand. Whether it's good or bad, that's another story, right? So if you have a good brand, then you attract good people. You have a bad brand, you attract bad people. So if your reputation is shit, you're probably gonna attract shit worker, shit client. But if your reputation is good, chances are you have an easier time getting client, easier time finding employees, because you have a much desirable place to work at, right? So start with the personal brand. What you stand for, what you don't stand for. Core value, right? So build your reputation, have your core value all all defined
Mhm.
and have your vision and mission all defined. And then you got to communicate that core value, that mission and that vision out to the world. And the easiest way is your community, right? It's your client, your past client. Do you remember who you are? How?
Mhm.
How can they make you? And so now that's the first piece, reputation, awareness. Now, how you sold the awareness piece? How do you make people know about you? The quickest way is borrow Iceball, which is app. So you can run some kind of brand awareness campaign and talk about your core value, all that little bullshit. Hey, here who we are, blah, 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 blah. Or you can build it through the community. You can sponsor kid team. You can sponsor soccer team. You can go to do Papillion Day or a parade and buy a bus, something like that. So be visible, right? And third is you can do it through, vehicle, yard sign, and that's another way too. But I think that the way that I like the most and the most simple is building a good book of business, and then make sure that book of business don't forget about you. So that's constant nurturing, constant building relationship with your current client base. Because as far as I know, within the construction industry, and especially if you do an exterior project or a siding project or something, somebody's gonna want to know that who did your stuff.
Yeah.
But you can't really know when the other person gonna need it. So you have to stay top of mind of your current client, so they can, they have these neighborhood Facebook group, this next door group, that you can then influence your client to refer you on there, or client bring more people back to you. So I call this, making a lead shit 5 times. So when the lead come in, when it's realized to a deal, that's just the first deal. The way to decrease your marketing costs is how can you make this deal turn into 5 deals, right? So then what it is instead of using Google to market, using Facebook to market, you use your client to market, right? So all we do is we send them a little gift, a little handwritten thank you letter. We don't ask for anything. We're using law of reciprocity to make them speak good on our behalf at all times. And so that's a level of influence that I use within my business. Now, people might ask you, well, how do I see a return on that? Well, this is one of those things that I don't have an ROI for you, but I know that if you do this, your ad cost going to be cheaper. Everything else going to be cheaper because your brand's going to be amplified throughout the neighborhood. Now, some of the lead is still going to come in to be a Google ad, an SEO lead, a Facebook lead. But how many times have they already been impressed by your brand, right? Maybe they hear from the neighbor. Maybe they hear from the Facebook group they were part of. Maybe they just saw your truck somewhere, and that's the first impression. And with the way the noisy world is right now, I want as much impression, positive brand impression as possible, even before they contact. And the best marketing is done is when I don't do it. It's when my client do it for me. It's when my ex-client do it for me, or when it's just a stranger do it for me because they see my shit everywhere and they read the review. So it's all that. You never really know who is out there looking. So if you can have all your client be your soldier, then you can always have eyes and ear everywhere, and you can capture the buyer anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, great points there. And it boils down to the experience being visible, like you said, and the referrals. Everyone knows how important that is, but having process a system, a way to encourage that, like you said, with sending personalized, handwritten notes, going above and beyond, and just making sure that the client experience is really top quality. Can you tell me about a success story with a client of, a project or a client where things went really well, and how what you did to make sure that the project was a success for the client?
So I think about it like this, right? If they call you asking when are you going to start my job, you fail. So pre-communication, right? So for the job to be successful, we have to start it successful. So this is the front end, right? So when the deal sold, the check collected, sales guy leave, and say somebody gonna be reaching out in 2-3 weeks. Do you actually reach out in 2-3 weeks, right? So you gotta have touch point, human touch point, not automated. Human touch point to update you. You don't necessarily have to know the exact date, but as long as you keep people in the loop and just kind of walk them through the production process, that I call it, that's a success on the front end. And then when the job starts, to me, that's a PM thing. Then the PM take over. They're going to be well versed in communication. That's the point, communication. Material is ordered correctly. The install goes smoothly. Job site is clean. Pass final inspection and the check collected. Okay, and then we will call them to ask if we to have some type of feedback for ourselves, and if there is any concern, mistake, something that they don't like, they can voice it to somebody else other than the production crew that they've been working. Because most people are afraid of confrontation. They usually don't tell them until you know. And then a 5-star review, and then a referrals or a repeat. So there was one deal that we can attribute 7 deals back to that same deal within less than 2 years. So just think about, I do the neighbor, then the behind, and then the next door neighbor bought 3 times for me, then the next door neighbor bought for me. So that was the one circle that we just booked the 4 deal in that circle. There's only 6 houses in there. So how can you get that? How can I get that? It's because I have brand equity. I already have so many brand experience. I call that brand experience point. Oh, there's a call. There's a handwritten note. There's a checkpoint right here. Oh, they sent me a gift. Oh, they sent me another gift. So all of this is keep our name fresh in their mind, right? So eventually, if somebody next door needs something, who they gonna call? They're gonna call the person that in the neighborhood mind. Yeah. So that's many cases like this where we dominate the neighborhood after we get in.
Yeah, wonderful. And that is like the best way to run a business, and really excel at that client experience so that your clients will refer you to everybody else and their neighbors, friends, family.
Here's another thing. You can fuck up. That's the thing. That's buy you a lot of grace. So if you get the first interaction right, you can fuck up royally in the middle. But if you make it right and make a last interaction good and make them feel good, everybody forget about the bad stuff in the middle. You're still going to get a 5-star. You're still going to get paid. But most people forget to do is when things get hard to close out at the end, or when there's a problem or callback, they just ignore it. That hurt the brand way much more than you think.
Yeah, definitely. And most people are, reasonable and understand shit happens, right? But if you can smooth out that relationship and then, make sure that you close it out strong, like you said, that can then be a voice for the company, and they'll appreciate that even though things didn't go as smooth as they could have, at least you stepped up and you were accountable for what happened and took care of it. So definitely way to go. So what's the best way for people to connect with you if they want to learn more about Deck Bros or the coaching that you do with contractors?
So you can contact me directly to Facebook, or you can go on luandadon.com. I have all my links, all the podcasts. I have a podcast, Get Biz, Do Biz, Get Paid, where I interview contractor and entrepreneur who try to break out to that free zone where they actually operate a business rather than working in the business. And this is just asking people what their journey is and things like that. Real conversation, unscripted. Yep. And then I don't do one-on-one because I think the return is not there for me yet. But I do run a small mastermind of beginning contractor guy that's up under $1 million. And then eventually I'm going to launch a Deck Mastermind where I will teach everything that I know to a specific industry.
Awesome. Definitely. So I'll put links in the description of, this video or audio, wherever you're listening or watching this, to get connected with Luan. And I want to thank you so much for coming on here, Luan, and sharing your insights about building brands and lead gen. Any final word or advice that you wanted to share with the audience?
When you're trying to do this stuff, the number is important, but there's certain decision that you have to make without knowing the number. And brand is just one of those things. And then there's a lot of things that matters, but what matters most is your reputation, your branding. How are the people perceive you around the community, around the world, around what you do. So my biggest advice is start, if you're not consciously thinking about how you show up in the world, start now. And it's always easy to start with a personal brand, build a business, and then brand yourself out that business and build another thing that you can rely upon. So build a personal brand. If you're a floor guy, maybe you're the floor man or Florida, whatever it is, just, if you put some execution behind it, it will become a brand. So to me, that's the highest leverage of business because it will help you in marketing, it will help you in sales, it will help you in recruiting, it will help you in production, it will help you build authority and be a top leader in your community if you have a brand, right? So I cannot understand, and it's not that hard to build a brand. It's just building your reputation, make sure everybody knows about it. So I suggest anybody, if you want some help in how to facilitate it, I help many people kind of rebrand their construction image and niche down to what they're really good at. So